Hey everybody, welcome back. It's Jordan here. Today we're going to be building and taking a detailed look at the LEGO Natural History Museum modular building. When it comes to piece count, this is actually the largest modular building ever produced. It has 4,014 pieces. And it's 1.5 base plates or 48 studs wide. And you can see it next to the Boutique Hotel and the Jazz Club here on the back of the box. Inside the box, we have two dark gray base plates, one 16 by 32 and one 32 by 32. Also some large 2 by 16 white plates, and then two pieces of vinyl, one which represents the paleontology exhibit and the other, the space exhibit. The pieces are divided among 33 different bags or building stages, and we get one instruction manual. Inside the instruction manual, you can meet Chris McVeigh, who is actually the designer of this set. And then there's an outline of all the modular buildings in a row below that. Super cool. And then there are some up-close images of one of the stories in the set involving the dinosaur bone and the dog. A big shout out to LEGO for providing this set early. So I'm going to start the Natural History Museum build off a little bit differently because I'm going to convert the beautiful plates that this set comes with into Mills plates, and I'm going to top those with dark gray plate just because I've got a lot of those dark gray plates. After I get those Mills plates constructed, it's time to tile off the entire first floor. I love the fact that it's completely tiled off. It just makes it look so good. Combination of the tan and also nougat. There's also some embedded details that are going to be covered up. There's some dinosaur bones that are actually underneath the raised area in the center of the museum, and there's also a little piece of cheese and an arch. And I suppose the mouse that can actually be found in other modular buildings is actually making its way underneath the museum. Adding some flowers to the front area there, and also creating the front steps, which once again are nicely tiled off in light gray. And there's also some 2x2 jumpers there as well, adding some details such as the bathroom and then like the little back room where there's a microscope and also a piece of pottery. The walls on the ground floor are actually built using dark tan, and then there is the dark brown line, so those contrast really well. Also starting to add some of the exhibits found within, which include the head of a saber-toothed tiger, a fossil, some dino dung I suppose, also the front desk where you can purchase some souvenirs, some replicas of ancient pottery, a volcano that is spewing lava, a bench that has a sticky donut, and much, much more. So the bottom portion of the walls are once again built in dark tan. Then there's that line that's dark brown. And after that line, we actually transition into olive. And I actually really like the olive color. I think it was a great choice. And this set actually offers us a bunch of pieces that have appeared in olive for the very first time. So once we got all those interior details in there, we've got our walls all constructed and also our windows framed beautifully using candlesticks and other various pieces. It's time to add the tile top and then also create the staircase and then complete the pillars. The pillars are actually a pretty simple design, but it is absolutely brilliant. They look fantastic. They frame that entrance so well. And then it's time to add some more details to the front of the build, such as the statues and also some more vegetation, and completing the fence, which is actually custom built with some of the rounded plates. There's 1x2 and also 1x3, and then they have the arrowhead. So I really like the fence design. And the main feature of this museum is actually the skeleton of the Brachiosaurus, and that's how you wrap up the construction of the ground floor. Starting with the front entrance to the museum, I love this door right here. It's 1x6x5. It's a new-ish element in dark brown. That looks so much better to create a double door. Like using two of the 1x4x5 doors does not look nearly as good as that. And then there's some windows above that as well, and some lights on either side, and then the museum print piece on a 1x6 tile over the entrance there, and then the two pillars, which just look beautiful. I actually really enjoyed this design here, specifically the base for them. It's a really nice technique that uses plates, brackets, and tiles. The pillars are also held in place by brackets, but you can see what I mean. It's a little bit more simplistic than you would think. It's just some four-sided snot bricks in there, some jumpers, and some tiles, and it's all based on a brick. And they just sit perfectly on their bases. Now there are some handrails here, but they're actually only tacked down at the bottom. I found that rather interesting. And then we have the statues on either side, one female and one male. I like the staff. It uses the antenna, the 1x1 stud with the hole, and also a microphone. Now those statues actually originated in the Rivendell set, and there's another element in the front planters here that originated in that set, and that is, of course, the fern elements right over here that are used to create some more flowers. The build is rather symmetrical, however there is one difference on this side, and that is going to be the base of the cherry blossom tree. I love the exterior texture of the building. We have the olive green masonry bricks, also some dark tan tiles that are mounted using snot bricks. The windows are treated very well with the candlesticks on either side, and they're also offset a little bit using plates, jumpers, and then decorated with some of the 1x1 modified plates with the tooth. Now some of these details were actually added during the last step, and you're going to see that later on in the time lapse, such as that lamp there, also this bench, the mailbox, the cookie, and also the birds. Check out the little fence design right here. Once again, it uses those rounded plates and also the arrows. One thing I know a lot of LEGO fans are going to be all about is making sure that all of those arrows on that unique fence are pointed the same direction. So making our way inside the museum, we actually have an elevated floor there, and there is a cash counter. It has some trophies, also some mugs, and a few things that you can buy there that are represented by ingots. There's also a cash register, a coffee mug, and then some stuff behind the counter there, such as the magnifying glass. In the left side of the museum, you can see some replicas of ancient pottery. One is built using a pumpkin element, and there's one that has fallen off its little display there and smashed to the ground. There is a bench below the staircase, and on that bench there is a sticky donut. The staircase is a brilliant design that uses the nougat triangular pieces. There's also some connectors on the side so that you can add a handrail, and it is based on some plates, and when I remove that, it reveals the sticky donut. On the base of the staircase, there is a volcano build that's built using a four-sided snot brick, some triangular tiles, and also some cheese slopes. And just behind that, there is a painting that represents the Earth's core and its different layers. And up against this window, we have some geodes. I really like that amethyst piece. There's also a door right underneath the staircase, and when you go through that door, you can find a toilet, which can actually very easily be revealed by removing this interior wall. I love that accessibility feature. There are two windows back there. We have our washroom and the toilet paper, and then there is also a small lab with a microscope. It has a bacteria print piece, which is really nice, 1x1 round tile, and then a piece of pottery, and also a door that leads out back. The removable wall features a clock, some bones, and also some spare rolls of toilet paper. Once again, the main feature of this museum is the dinosaur skeleton, which can very easily be removed. It actually just sits in there loosely. This is just such a cool build. Look at all the connector elements that were used to add the detail of the articulating neck and also the body. The rib cage is represented by bananas, and the legs can actually articulate, and same with the tail. You'd be surprised how many of the exact same element are found in this set. For example, look at all of those white connector pieces in the neck, legs, and tail. It sort of repeats the same technique over and over again, but in the end, you've got a really cool looking dinosaur skeleton. When you come down the stairs right there, we have a showcase that displays some fossilized prehistoric dino dung, and then there is an ammonite right here. I believe this represents an ammonite. Some really cool part usage there with the odd-shaped reddish-brown plate, the whip, and some cheese slopes, and then there is a saber-toothed tiger head. I really like that build there, and the nice thing about the displays is they're all removable as they sit on jumpers, and they're pretty much all based on the similar stand as this, which is a 2x4 plate, 2x4 brick, and then some tiles and jumpers. Our last display can be found in this little nook right here by the window, and it is some dinosaur eggs. The backside of the model is rather plain. There are a few windows, and then there is a nice drain pipe right here. There is some water coming out the end of that drain pipe, and the water is actually represented by a transparent jewel, so that's pretty nice. It's built using candlesticks, so some good part usage there. And then there is a door here, which is once again framed with the candlesticks, and that looks pretty cool. And then beside the door is a trash bin with a bone inside, and that can be used to tell a story later on in the build. One thing I've got to say about this set is I put this together so fast. It was just like bam, 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 bam. It was not hard to put together at all. I found that there were very few pieces per bag. In fact, each building stage only had one bag, so it's not like the good old days where you'd have like multiple bags. I remember Assembly Square was like crazy. It was like, I think one building stage was each like one floor. So this is like completely different. Everything just goes together so fast. But on the second floor, we've got some pretty cool interior details. The solar system, the like classic space logo, and asteroids, some classic space sets, and these little mini builds that represent pirate, castle, and forestman. There are some really nice pieces in this set. Once again, olive green. Like there's just so many pieces in this. I noticed that there are a lot of 3x3 plates in various colors. Also, I love those olive green arches that sort of connect the front and back wall. And then the window treatments as well with the candlesticks and the jumpers and the way that there's inset. These ones here actually have curved slopes going over top of them. It's just beautiful. One thing I will say though, I think that the interior is really spacious. Like there's not a whole lot inside this modular building when you consider how big it is. There's lots of space for minifigures to move around in there, but I guess that's sort of how museums are. But maybe there should be some more interior details, like more little mini builds found throughout this set. When the second floor is placed onto the ground floor, it's just beautiful because we have the continuation of the pillars. They're topped nicely with some 1x1 studs and also ingots. They've got the windows above the front door, and those are well framed with the olive arches. And then there's the vinyl sign right there for the space exhibit, and also one for the paleontology exhibit. Nice vibrant pop of color to the museum. And the windows, once again, are treated nicely. They sort of match the ground floors. They're actually capped with the 1x4 curved slopes. Not only do the floors come together nice from the exterior, but also from the interior as well, specifically the atriums. This one here, the dinosaur's head is poking up through, which is nice. They're really well framed too with the use of some fence pieces, specifically these curved fences right here. I don't think they've ever been done before in black. I think that's a new element for the set. On that wall, we have a boat anchor. Then there's a little pirate display right there, forestman, and also castle. And you might recognize the mini builds on the bottom. This one represents the yellow castle, and that one there, the forest hideout. So some representation of some classic Lego themes. Included in that is space. Probably recognize that Lego space logo there. Then there's a little miniature rocket display. And on this side over here, we have an asteroid and also a telescope, another one of those staircases, which will lead up to the rooftop. And then there is a representation of some classic space sets, such as the Galaxy Explorer and Space Station right here. In the center of the room, you can see our solar system, a pretty cool build that uses some ball elements, minifig heads, also microphones. It's based on a large dish, and there is actually a steering wheel there as well. So pretty cool build of our solar system. You also see some lights. There were matching lights on the ground floor as well that are built using some of those square sort of pyramid pieces. So lots of cool mini builds on the second floor here. But once again, I think there's a lot of open space in this modular building, but I guess that's pretty realistic as minifigs need a lot of room to move around in the museum. And having a look at the back side of the museum, once again, it's pretty much just one solid wall. There are some more windows on the second floor and also a continuation of that drain pipe. All right, now it's time to cap this building off with the roof. This is the final stage of the build. And you know what? I've got to say that I think the roof was the most technical part of this build. Specifically, the curator's study in the center. It actually has like a really unique shape, and the way that that is roofed with the different curved slopes, tiles, and the way those tiles are articulated to give it that unique shape was pretty tricky. Also, there's the door that opens upward. There's actually two big holes in the roof that are going to be covered up with windows, and those actually look down into the atrium, so they allow light to go through the windows and sort of light up the entire museum. Not as good as a light kit, obviously. But yeah, there's lots of big, tall slopes on the roof as well, which I love to see. There's some that are like 2x2 and 2 tall, also 2x2 and 3 tall, so I love seeing all these large dark gray slopes. And then the curved black windows that fill those big holes look fantastic as well. Then the final part of the roof is actually the pediment that goes on top of the pillars, and this is actually built as a separate component, and it actually clips onto the front portion of the roof, and then we're able to place that on top of the modular building. Got to add some more exterior details to the building as well, such as the little window washing station, which is actually clipped onto the roof, and then a beautiful cherry blossom tree and some of the other details that you saw earlier in this video. And the roof literally does a great job of just capping off this building. Specifically this pediment, I like the angles that we have there, also the decoration. The added decoration of the ingot tiles that are framed using the modified plates and also some plates that are actually held in place by some brackets. Does a great job of separating like the olive color with the dark gray roof. They just look fantastic. Just like a nice separation line, if you will. On either side, we have these like parts that come up here, and we have the little statues that are in those rounded windows, and they're framed with the corner slopes. You know me, I'm a huge fan of dark gray slopes, and look at all of them on this roof here. Absolutely fantastic. And then we have the curved skylights that provide light to the atrium. Those just look so clean. And the most complex thing of this roof, I think, was this structure right here. And inside that is actually the curator's study. The massive curved slopes on either side of the entrance line up perfectly with these tiles, which are on hinges. There is a skylight there as well, which is framed with some of the light gray fence elements and then some more of those arrow pieces. And there is a door right there so that he can access his study. And this whole panel here can actually be removed. And when that's removed, you can see some of the building techniques inside and some of the details on his desk as well. Looks like there's a couple awards represented by the gold micro figures, a typewriter, map, a nice lamp, some miscellaneous books, and probably some scrolls on the left and also right side of his desk there, along with a plant. On the left side, there's a telescope, so the curator can do some stargazing, and there's also a door right here, and this is how he can access the roof using that staircase on the second floor. And of course, this solid olive wall has become even larger. As mentioned, the pediment can actually be removed from the roof structure, and that's going to reveal some of the building techniques within. We've got some Technic lift arms and bricks, and that allows these panels to hinge and be at those unique angles. And one of the final details is the cherry blossom tree. It's built using Technic pieces, and then of course it has the pink and white color. And you put that among the other vegetation and details found outside of the museum. This set comes with 7 minifigures and a dog. This minifigure up here, who's currently washing the windows, is actually a representation of the designer. Remember, we saw Chris in the instruction manual, and there he is holding his minifigure. He's got a nice hat, really good print detailing on his face, and the suspenders. Next up, we have the curator, and he actually looks oddly familiar. I believe this is an older Dr. Charles Lightning. And I think for the most part, he's going to be found on the rooftop, either in his study or gazing at the stars. I really like this minifigure. He's got a really nice face and also some amazing print detailing on his torso, plus his hair is pretty killer. Next up, we have this lady over here who likes to feed the birds out front of the museum. And her alternate face would indicate that she quite enjoys doing it. Next up, we have 2 museum staff members, and they come with specialized torsos. And you can use some of the additional pieces that were stowed away in this trash bin around back, the minifigure's alternate face, and the puppy dog to set up a pretty cool story. It looks like this dog has grabbed a dinosaur bone, and this lady is chasing after him. And this gentleman comes with an alternate worried face because maybe he just smashed this pottery or he's just discovering it. We also get 2 more minifigures which can be used to populate the museum. We've got this young boy here in the green shirt with the short legs and the excited face, and this lady here with the prosthetic leg. They both come with alternate faces, and specifically the boys can be used to create a bunch of different stories, whether it is the dog or the smashed pottery, because he's sort of like, oh no, I just did something, or he's just amazed by one of the exhibits. So everybody, what do you think of the largest modular building ever produced with 4,014 pieces and a retail price of $300 US? Holy cow, these things are getting expensive, but they're also getting larger. Like 4,014 pieces, 1.5 base plates. It's crazy. There's a bunch of cool pieces in here too, like with the olive colors. There's a whole bunch of those 3x3 corner plates, which are nice. And then just some great part usage in here as well, and some pretty cool minifigures that you can build some pretty cool stories with as well. But the minifigures, they do have the prosthetic leg, but there's no dual molded legs, no leg print detailing, no arm print detailing, so it's not like the minifigures are over the top, I wouldn't say. But I think it's a great building. I love the design of it. With the pediment and the pillars and the way that those windows are treated. Also, the roof of it is very cool. 2 massive floors, fully tiled off interior on the ground floor at least. Some pretty interesting mini builds as well. I love the atrium aspect of the build with the skylight skylights on the roof. That's really neat. I do think there's a little bit too much open space in the interior. But other than that, I think this is fantastic. I can't wait to swap up the tile colors, place it in my Lego city, and sort of go from there. Everybody, thank you so much for coming on by. Please remember to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for some more great stuff, and have yourselves a fantastic day.